All right, welcome into another episode of Riding Shotgun with Tommy Mack. I'm your host, Tom McManus, back in the beautiful showroom of Fields Cadillac in Jacksonville, right here on Blanding and I-295. Great to be here, great to be alive. I'm standing in front of another beautiful vehicle, one of their electronic vehicles, the Lyric. Hey, listen, man, if you're into electronic, if you're into full gas, if you're into a hybrid, and you like luxury, you got to check out Fields Cadillac right here or down in St. Augustine. We got a great show lined up for you tonight. We're talking hoops tonight. A little crossover, fadeaway, behind the back pass, little dish maybe. We're going to talk it all because guess what? This guy's been around Jacksonville for a long time. He's got his team rocking right now. They're 3-1. He's the Atlantic Sun Conference three-time Coach of the Year, and he's a good friend of mine. Coach Matthew Driscoll joins me right here on Riding Shotgun. Coach, come on in here, my man. It's good to see you again.
By the way, the way you were
doing?
rapping that all out, I thought it was Curtis Blow. I thought you were doing the Curtis Blow.
I was good there.
I was pretty good.
I
liked your moves.
I appreciate that. Now listen, before we get in, we'll give him a little tidbit. Give me one key ingredient that you got to have to be a successful coach.
You got to have consistency. If you don't have consistency with transparency, it's really hard for people to follow.
Yeah.
And I think great leaders and leaders of men
Yep.
have to also be followers.
That's right.
And have to be able to take another role. And so I think the consistency, do what I say, not as I do, or the opposite of it, right?
Right.
And so when you do that and you have that consistency, you're committed, and then the discipline follows.
Hey, if you walk the walk, you better talk it too.
100%. Because walk is what, when you work, it brings profit, right?
Yeah.
But when you talk, what does it bring?
Yeah,
Poverty.
That's right.
So you got to be able to do it.
No doubt. All right, you ready to go for a ride, man?
Hey, by the way, when I was growing up,
I
always wanted a Coupe de Ville.
Okay.
A four-door, the two-tone, the beige, and the
leather. Absolutely.
One of my favorite of all time. I don't have one.
Right.
But maybe down the road with Fields, you never know.
We'll have
never
to figure that out.
Never know.
If you do a good job tonight, maybe they'll gift us one. How about that?
Let's do it. Hey, by the way, when we go tonight, I'm riding shotgun.
That's right, you are. Damn
yes,
right.
Sir.
All right, we'll see you.
Shotgun, baby.
All right, let's get going here on Riding Shotgun with Tommy Mack and my guest, Coach Matthew Driscoll. Coach, great to have you, man. Thanks so much, man. I appreciate you.
Gas prices are down.
Yeah, they are.
But you know what?
Yeah.
We don't need gas in this.
That's right.
It's
nice
electric.
EV, baby. Nice EV. Got to make sure that it's all plugged in, right? That's
They're
the
so
key.
quiet.
They are very quiet. This one's quick. The Lyric is very quick, which I like. I don't know what kind of cars you like, but I like performance cars. You know what I mean? I like I like fast.
Yeah, I'm simple and I'm just A to B. And
no, I know, but I like getting there fast. I don't know why. And I'm not a hammer on the speed, but I don't have a lot of patience for patience.
Well, the good thing is Jacksonville, the traffic's not brutal.
Right.
Though we have grown a lot in my 16 years I've been here. I mean, the city is just around campus alone.
Yep.
When you think about the town center added the second phase.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we have two Texas, De Brazil and Fogo de Chao right next to each other. It's like, seriously.
No, I know.
I think to myself, like, who goes to these places?
Yeah. Meat eaters.
Yeah, carnivores. Yeah, carnivores. Oh, man. Not
so,
vegan.
Coach, you basketball, like, when did you know you wanted to be a basketball coach? Was it young? Were you in college, high school?
You know, I'm glad you asked that because Joey Greer, one of the great players from my high school, Northgate High School, I emulated him growing up, wanted to be like him, and wrote me a nice email after our first championship and reminded me, which I didn't remember, that I was a manager for my dad. My dad coached our Catholic grade school team.
Okay.
And
Wow.
I didn't remember that. I just
Okay.
never, and that memory's not in my brain for whatever reason.
Right.
And so I knew that was kind of in my cards. But I didn't do things well. I didn't take school seriously. I didn't do the things I needed to do when I went into college.
Okay.
My daddy, probably like yours,
Yep.
you know, you're either going to college, you're going to the military, or you're out. Like the
Pretty much.
payroll's done.
That's right. Pretty much. Those were the options.
So when I went, my brother took me, and I didn't do well, and I came home, and
Yep.
lady down the street, Sally Mogg, and her brother and I were best friends, and she was working her way up that McDonald's chain.
Okay.
And this was the 80s.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially a woman working her way up the McDonald's chain, she had some juice.
Yeah.
So, you know who used to come through my drive-thru all the time?
Who's that?
Terry Long.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember him?
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
And he
was
had a
jacked
Jeep
up.
with the tires were too far outside the wheels. But that was my deal, and it was the same McDonald's where they invented the Big Mac.
No kidding.
And so
Wow.
but before me.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
you know, like you, Daddy said, like your name's on everything, and so cleanest like you had to go to the bathroom, come to my place.
Yep.
You know, if you wanted the best fries, my vat was the cleanest, and so I took a lot of pride in it. Well, they thought, man, this dude's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So now, put him in management.
Right.
Well, I didn't. I was 20 years old, and I'm thinking I don't need school. And so you start crushing it.
Yeah.
And you're thinking I'm going to own 6 of these, and next
Yeah.
you know, at 40 I'm going to be living in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
But I knew
dream.
I knew the whole time.
Yeah.
Like basketball and teaching were in my cards.
Right.
And so I was fortunate to be able to go back
Okay.
at age 27, graduate from college, and then start. And you and I talked a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Jackie Sherrill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When I was 14, I used to park at the Common Plea, big time restaurant,
Okay.
right next to the county morgue.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's a correlation
Yeah, right.
between some bodies that didn't show up. But I remember parking Jackie Sherrill's car,
Okay.
and when you opened the door, it played the Pit fight song.
Oh, no kidding.
Hail to Pit.
Ah, cool.
Crazy, right?
That's
So he
cool.
does a game at Baylor when I'm at Baylor.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
does the Fox Keller commentator.
Yeah.
And I walk up to him and like, tell him the story. So, there's a lot of dots on the map we have, and
Yep.
and I'm sure in your life as well too. You can talk about those as well
Yeah.
too. That, my college coach really, really went to see a recruit one time, didn't show up,
Yep.
and I'm like, Coach, let's go. He's like, Drisc, we're hooping. I'm like, Coach, like we just drove 3 hours. Like we can hoop at home.
Right.
He goes, Drisc, we're hooping. He was young, just came
Yeah.
back from Australia.
Okay.
We hoop. We get done. A week later, a dude that was hooping with us was freshman of the year in his league, wrote coach a letter, said he wanted to transfer, thought he could go up and get a scholarship, maybe to D2 school, maybe a low D1.
Okay.
Comes to school. We win the state championship in junior college, and he's the player of the year.
Oh, no
Ends up
kidding.
going to Bentley. What's the D2 school up in
Yeah,
Boston?
Bentley. Yeah. Yeah.
He goes
yeah.
to Bentley.
Oh, really?
Up,
All right.
up your neck of the woods
Yeah.
in some form
Yeah.
or fashion.
Yeah, when I was up there at Boston College, for sure.
But it really showed that everything matters.
Yep.
If you embrace where your feet are planted and you have a genuine purpose about that, and Coach was genuine, like we're
Right.
going to hoop.
Right.
And I think he saw that in Coach and then wanted to be a part of it. And then the last part, embrace where your feet are planted with a genuine purpose, treating others the way you want to be treated. But then
Yep.
my daddy always said this, and knowing that you come from a similar type family, it seems
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
no matter how they're treating you.
Yeah.
And people
Right.
don't talk about that.
No, right. Right.
Now, you have to go break bread with them.
No, right. Or take any grief if you
But
don't want to.
you can agree to disagree
Right. True.
and walk away.
Yep.
But
Yep.
so I really think where we put our feet and the way in which we do things,
Yep.
I think is really important.
Well, and plus you coaches, man, you guys are farmers in the beginning, right? You're planting seeds, man. You're planting, crops. You're building relationships. You gotta keep working on your craft, right? You're always trying to get to that next step, right? If that's your path with coaching, right? I mean, I hear it from all the, like I interview Coach Dave Camp all the time. His first 8 years, he was like at the Institute of, Rochester, some like small, you know what I mean? And he had to grind and grind and grind and grind, but then, boom, you hit
I was
it.
a high school coach
Yep.
at my alma mater. The
Nice.
coach does
You're from Pittsburgh.
from Pittsburgh. The
Tough
guy
town.
does something really unintelligent.
Mm-hmm.
So next thing you know, I'm 2 months on the job. I'm 24. I'm the head coach.
Wow.
So I knew at that
Wow.
point that God was continually telling me, like, this is the path. This is your path. This
Yep.
is your path. So you go high school coach, and junior college coach, and then you're a Division II coach and NAI coach. How about this one, Tom?
Yeah.
My first head coaching job at a Division III school, they had defunct the program for 7 years.
Oh, wow. Really?
Bring it back.
Wow.
The paper is on strike. Dots on a map.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of their best players was the assistant coach at the junior college where I played and coached.
Wow.
He says, Driscoll, I can get you in there. I said, I'm a JV basketball coach.
Right.
How am I going to get a division? Like, this ain't going to work.
Right.
I can get you an interview. I get the interview. I get the job. I get the job. How about this one? Jim Kelly's high school football coach was our AD.
Oh, no kidding.
He calls me in. He says, listen to me. I got you this teaching job in this district. I got you this basketball job.
Wow.
You ain't leaving. Like, you owe me.
Wow.
And I thought to
That's
myself,
cool. Yeah.
oh my goodness.
So that's where you went from the McDonald's route to into basketball. Like that's,
And it's like,
that's how you made the jump.
I felt terrible.
Yeah.
Right? So I go to my principal, Gloria, I'm not taking the job. So I turn the job down. 24 hours later, I call the AD. It's a great story.
Yeah.
So Gloria says, I could care less what you do. All I know is between 8 and 3, these fifth graders better be getting the best fifth grade teacher they could ever have.
Right.
And so I'm hot. You know, Pittsburgh started coming out of me.
Yeah.
This dude, you know, so I called the AD. I write her a letter.
Yeah.
In August. I made a huge mistake. Like, people don't do this anymore.
Right.
I made a huge mistake. If something transpires, if something happens, like,
Right.
and I move on.
Right.
So I resign because I'm not going to work for this guy now.
Right.
And I go to a Division II school up the street from where I'm teaching. And I'm like, can I be a volunteer assistant?
Yeah.
And it's in my alma mater, Slippery Rock University,
Right.
which you've heard of
Oh,
course.
heck yeah.
Everybody has, right?
Yeah,
Back in
yeah,
the day.
Pretty much.
And so I'm on it for like 2-3 months. This is back in when practice didn't start till November 1st. And
Yep.
we also had phone messages. I get home from teaching and my light's blinking and I hit the button
Yeah.
and it's Lynn Tubman, the AD at LaRoche College.
Yeah.
And
LaRoche,
coach,
right.
our coach that we hired, that you didn't take the job to do, we hired, just quit. And the season starts in a week.
Wow.
Would you come in and
Coach,
re-interview?
wow.
So God was just,
The map.
it was just, the dots on the map were just
Yeah.
lining up, if that makes sense.
But you had to be ready, and that's the lesson, right? Like, hey, man, you got to be ready. You knew what you wanted, right? You knew how to coach.
100%.
What kind of coach did you always want to be? Who did you look up to as a, when you were younger?
When I was younger, I looked around and I thought to myself, okay, is John Wooden the guy? Is Bobby Knight the guy?
Bobby Knight.
Those kind of Judd
Yeah.
Heathcote, is he the guy?
Yeah.
Mike Krzyzewski was young at the time.
Yep.
Who were the guys? But as you started to go back to your junior college coach,
Yeah.
and like Dickie was really good, and then you meet Coach Slocum, one of my
Oh,
dearest
yeah.
mentors,
Yeah,
and
sure.
Coach Slocum just took me under his wing and just really, so he was beating me by 40 every time. And then
Yep.
when he left the league, our league separated, he said, Driss, come spend a day with me. And after I spent a day with him, I'm like, man, I don't know anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is just grinding and pouring in. And I'm going to grad school. I'm a fifth grade teacher by day. I'm a Division III head coach by night. My wife and I just got married. We just had our son.
Wow.
So you're just, like you said, you're grinding.
Grinding.
But Tom, let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Microwave, oven. I think it goes into this scenario of your questioning.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because too many people, in my opinion, they want it to be 1:30, hear the bell, and it's good to go. A 6-minute baked potato in the microwave is not the same as a 1-hour baked potato in the oven.
Without a doubt.
Do you agree?
Totally agree. Bacon? I would never put bacon in the microwave. You kidding me?
So, like, did you have that experience as well? Where you had to just really convince yourself that you were just going to continue to fight and grind, not just accept it's the now, because everybody wants to be me. There's only 365 of me in the country.
Right. No, I know what you're saying. No.
Right, everybody wants to be you when you're with the Jags.
Right.
I can do that. I can be him.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever have that experience?
I think back to our discussion before we got on camera, the upbringing. My upbringing was great, so no, I there was no way I was going to be deterred. I might have put things on pause, because things weren't happening. Like when I got cut by the Saints, that whole year, 1993, that fall, I didn't get a call. I didn't get anything. But I knew I still wanted to try. 94, I went to the training camp of the Redskins. I trained for that. Thought I was going to get signed.
Frostburg
They
State.
didn't sign me.
Frostburg State.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, how about that?
Yeah.
How about I knew that?
Yeah.
Because they were in our
Yeah.
league. They were in my Division III league.
No kidding. That's unbelievable. And so anyway, they didn't sign me. And then, I thought it was over. And then I get lucky with Coughlin and, I made the team.
So I don't believe in luck.
Well, I made my luck because he knew what kind of guy I
darn
was.
right you did.
Yeah.
You darn right you
I
did.
believe with that. I believe in that 100%.
You've made your path, so to speak.
Absolutely. All right. What kind of player were you?
You know what? I
Basketball
was a
player.
facilitator.
Okay.
I was not
Dish? Dishing?
and people love playing with me because I played hard, I communicated,
Yep.
and I took responsibility and ownership if I was at fault.
Okay.
And I tell that to our guys right now.
Accountability, baby.
Like,
Yep.
like guys, like if I make a mistake, there was something happened last night against Georgia,
Yep.
and I said, listen, I made a mistake last night. I saw it wrong, or I saw it from my angle, and when I get you get that 30,000 view from the top of the sky.
Yep.
It's completely different.
Yeah, totally.
And so when you look at those kind of things, can I tell you a side story that's really good?
Absolutely.
So we get the job. So we get fired at Clemson.
Okay.
Dots on the map. I become part of the assistant coaches, and we're in Minneapolis at the Final Four.
Okay.
We're going to meet the assistant coaches, have a convention. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. It's too long. Or we can drive all the way to St. Augustine. And so we meet at the bottom of a bar, Kelly's Bar.
Okay.
And I'm not a drinker, which doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I just
whatever.
don't drink.
Yeah. You don't need it, Coach.
But I'm there for business.
Right.
And I got all my papers out, and these dudes aren't here for that.
Right.
So I'm getting frustrated. Long story short, Coach Drew resigns from the assistant coaches. He's going to become the head coach of Valparaiso, replace his father.
Okay.
And he says this guy should be the vice president. The following year, we get fired.
Wow.
Coach Drew's top man is older. Coach Drew was 31. Coach Drew's top man was older. The AD said, you got to hire an old guy.
Wow.
You got to hire an experienced old guy.
Okay.
Well, I interviewed for that experienced old guy, and our only relationship was that deal.
Okay.
During the interview, I was really excited because he wanted to be a high major coach. He wanted to do what you said.
Yep.
He grinded the grind. He made his way. He was working his way as a low major, mid major, and now so that excited me.
Yep.
So I thought to myself, okay, here's this guy that's doing this and doing that. I said, listen, we need to go to this thing. You got to trust me. It's called the Pumps Retreat, and it's in LA, California.
Okay.
And it's called It's All About Relationships.
Yep.
Right? Life,
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
Everything in life.
Everything.
So
Communication in those
he
relationships.
commits to it. He says that we're going to do it, Driscoll.
Okay.
You're going to love this story. So every night he says to me, Driscoll, I got a buddy of mine. He plays cards every night at this casino. You can sleep at his place. He got an extra bedroom. I said, Coach, I'm not doing that. I'll just sleep in my office. So every night I slept in my office under my desk, like the Seinfeld episode. Exactly. But there was a corner TV.
Okay.
I'd lay on the floor. From 11 to 12, I would watch ESPN.
Okay.
Sports Center, right?
Yeah.
The whole time, it was during the murders that had just taken place at Baylor.
Oh, wow.
So I'm watching it
Whoa.
in front of me unfold.
Right.
Completely unfold.
Jeez.
Never knowing what's going to transpire, what God's got going on.
Right.
Then right after that was the Iron Chef when he had the magic ingredient and it came out and all the smoke came out of the Food Network. So I went to Food Network. So we end up going to this retreat.
Yeah.
And it's in early August.
Okay.
On the way to the retreat,
Yeah.
it breaks.
Okay.
The one assistant recorded the coaches speaking about we're going to make it look like a drug deal, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So anyways, there's a long history there.
Okay.
So we get there.
How'd you like that turn, Coach? You weren't scared, were you? You weren't nervous?
No, the only thing I
good.
was worried about is the guy on the bike that was crossing the lane in front of you. But you told me you passed 2 driver's ed classes.
That's right.
I'm curious, because you failed the first one, or how did that work? You said 2.
I was tardy too many times.
Okay.
I was tardy too many times.
So we go to this retreat,
Yeah.
and it breaks. Baylor's like, there's a player that's got murdered, it breaks.
Okay.
Forget that story, though it's an amazing story.
Okay.
So we're there. I have him meet with a headhunter.
Okay.
While we're there, Tim Floyd, who is, famous, right?
Absolutely.
He drafted Coach's brother, Bryce. So his Coach's brother played for him for 6 years.
Okay.
Dots on the map.
Yep.
We're sitting there. Coach, you're the perfect dude for this. You're young. You're a Christian. And even if you're bad, they'll fire you and you'll still get another job because they'll say, who would come take something like this over?
Right.
Professional suicide.
Yeah.
So he says, Tim Floyd says, well, just so you know, my roommate in college, his wife, is the head women's coach, Kim Mulkey.
Okay. I remember that name.
So, dots on the map.
Yeah.
So it's rolling, right?
Yeah.
So Coach gets done. We're going to this is in his book.
Yeah.
We're going to the airport, the headhunter. So it goes great with the headhunter.
Okay.
He says, Drisk, we're going to give Bill a ride to the airport. I go, no problem. I'm driving.
Yeah.
Coach is riding shotgun.
Okay. Nice.
So you know how these cars are around us?
Yeah.
We're in L.A. You ever been in L.A. driving?
Oh, yeah.
7 lanes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Tom, I'm there. He smacks me and says, oh my goodness, it's the one-armed fugitive. It's the one-armed bandit from The Fugitive. That's him right there. So I'm trying to say to myself, this dude in the back seat is getting ready to hire him for a high major job.
Right.
And he's going to think Coach is nuts.
Yeah, right.
So I start turning the radio up. And I'm thinking, I'm going to ignore him. So I don't answer him.
Okay.
No, just pull over. He winds the window down. Pulls up to the car. The guy points at him and says, you're the one on. And the guy goes like this. Yeah, it's me. You're not going to believe this. Guess what the guy in the search firm says? It is him, Coach. It is him. He gets all excited about it. So as soon as I saw that car pulling up, it made me think of that story.
That's
but it was
funny.
crazy, right? Like a murder. We go in, just obviously pour into these kids and just love on these kids. And next thing you know, Coach 18 years later wins a national championship.
Right. All right, Coach. You've been at UNF for 16 years. You guys are off to a great start.
Thank you.
Congrats. Tell us about your team. You mentioned to me you guys do not deal with NIL.
That's correct.
Okay. How do you do that in today's day and age? And how do you sell UNF? Today was signing day. Congrats. Give me some.
Yeah, we
4
had,
new recruits
yeah,
in.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Really good ones. I can't talk about them yet because the ink's not dry.
Okay, but that's awesome. But how do you guys compete? How are you still one of those top teams competing in basketball?
Well, the one thing is, Florida obviously in and of itself.
True.
Our university from an academia standpoint.
Yes.
So we get kids that have really, really high standards.
Good.
And we do as well. We've had 14 straight semesters, 22 the last 24, over 315. So
oh wow.
Everybody's graduated. So that part I don't want to say is easy.
No, right.
But it's great that we have this.
Kids take pride in academics, basically.
Let me put it to you this way, Tom. If you just understand who you are, it's just like being a player. Like, what's your role? Define your role.
Right.
What are you going to do? Look in the mirror and say, okay, this is who I am. So don't put a kid in front of me that's got a 2.2 and an 800.
Right.
Because then I'm going to love them, but we ain't going to get them.
You can't take them, right? You can't keep
So
them,
you really have to be smart from that aspect. The other thing is, we're about a round peg and a round hole.
Yep.
So the way we play, it's got a little pizzazz to it. Everybody likes shooting the threes.
Yeah, baby.
So layups and dunks and wide open threes.
Yep.
Led the country to the last 5 years. And
high flying, baby.
And this year we're on the same pace.
Yep.
But because of this transfer portal 2018, and then the way that you can now transfer one time, then one time became multiple times as much as you. So all that stuff happened right after COVID. So there was a whole muckery of stuff. Mm-hmm. Then NIL come. Then NIL becomes collective.
Right.
And now you're basically pay for play.
Right.
So that's at the end of the day, it's pay for play.
It is.
So our deal is this. We have a kid, Chaz Lanier, last year. He was the most efficient player in college basketball. He went on the NBA draft. He had a whole bunch of stuff. He's going to be an NBA player.
Yep.
He had about 1.5 from one school, 1.2 from another school, and he ended up signing at Tennessee. And so as a coach, that's our job.
Yeah.
To make them as good a men as we could possibly make them.
Right.
And also, too, the best version of themselves, because, Tom, at the end of the day, if we do that, then we get the byproduct.
That's right.
Of winning and good human beings and all that stuff.
But that's truly serving your players. You care about them more than your own success, right?
100%.
You want your success, of course.
It's going to
everybody
come.
does.
It's all going to come together.
It's all going to come together, right? But you want the best for that kid. Hey, man, if you can go to Tennessee and get whatever kind of money or whatever, we're with you, right?
And
We
make a
support
donation.
you.
You need a tax break.
Right. Exactly.
Buy us a couple meals.
Yeah, and what did you say after the Georgia Tech win or South Carolina win? He FaceTimed you?
Yeah, he was the first guy on the bus to FaceTime.
That says it all.
But
it says it all.
The other thing, too, Tom, when you talk about that, here's the issue where it's going.
Yep.
We have really, really talented young people. We had 2 freshmen. One was all freshmen. We have really talented young people.
Yep.
And so now it's starting even much more earlier, even in handshake lines.
Yeah, right.
I mean, trust me when I'm telling you this.
Yep.
And so we tell our guys, listen, guys, I told our 2 freshmen last year at the end of their season meetings, if you guys are playing for us as seniors,
yep,
you failed yourself somewhere. Unless you just truly love us
right,
and want to be a part of us.
Right.
Because you've just set yourself up for whatever it is it looks like. Because you're talking about generational money.
Without a doubt.
It's hard to get 7, 8, 9, $1 million. There's a lot of good you can come out of that.
No doubt.
And so we recruit that way as well too. If you come in and look at our past. Look at these pros we've had. Look at all these dudes.
Yeah.
The guys that have been in NBA Summer League, guys that have been NBA teams. So we have a really good. Listen to this, Tom.
Yep.
My one assistant, unfortunately, his father-in-law just passed from ALS.
Oh, God bless.
Coach Kennan, all 16 years he's been with me.
Wow.
Coach Evans, all 16 years, but a short stint at Georgia Tech, but he came back.
Oh, cool.
Coach Perkins walked in my office as a 36-year-old without a degree at Baylor, wanted to be a manager, and he's been with us now for the last 12 years.
Wow.
And now my son's on staff because my son played for our 2 championship teams, got a degree, went to Oral Roberts and got his master's, started in the coaching business.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you talk about a staff that's old. I talk about a staff that's really experienced.
Yeah.
And loves these kids. So
that's great.
We really go at it from that avenue.
Yep.
But I am telling you, Tom, there's a lot of stuff going on in that football field when those 2 teams go out and do this. And the other thing, Tom, that's become more prevalent are agents. Because now you're allowed to have an agent.
Right, in college, right. For the NIL and all that other stuff.
So now, and them dudes are getting 10 to 20%.
Wow.
So let's just say a player gets $1 million.
Right.
That's $200,000.
Right.
That was my slippery rock math came out
there
first.
You got it. I did double check it, up in the air.
That's slippery rock. What a great university.
All right, well, talk to us about 2024 team. You guys are 3-1. What did you learn from the big wins against South Carolina G Tech? What did you learn from the loss last night against Georgia? What do you think the players learned?
Great. That's a super question.
Thank you.
I would say the wins really forged our identity.
Yep.
Our theme this year is play to win.
Yep.
Comes from Corinthians, right?
Okay.
It says run to win, right? But it also says in such a way. So there's a way that we win. And there are 8 new guys, 15 in 2 years. Only one guy on the team's played with us longer than 1 year and 4 games.
Wow.
So, what does that such look like, right?
Yep.
So you got to mold that, right? And then our second phase is confidence to finish. And we've been talking about that all the first 3 games and even last night. Confidence to finish, confidence to finish, confidence to finish. And that goes with Mark. In 536 it says, don't be afraid, just believe.
Yep.
And so our one thing I learned is our guys believe.
Good.
Our guys believe in what we're doing.
Yep.
And I would say on the other side of it, when you look at the Georgia deal, the thing I learned is we are not only hunted from teams that are like us.
Right.
We were hunted from an SEC team.
Right.
Because we already beat one.
Right.
We just beat an ACC team.
Yeah.
And they did not want to be the next. And so their level of intensity, their level of understanding, their level of detail to guard us, it was something that I had not, and that was our 101st money game.
Wow.
So it wasn't like I was new at it.
No, right. And money games, you guys get paid to go there.
About $500,000 a year.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So we brought in over $8 million.
Wow.
Since we've been here in our 16th season.
Wow. That's fantastic. All right, so how do you keep these guys level-headed?
You mentioned Bobby Knight. I saw a quote from Bobby Knight the other night. I freaking loved it. You've probably seen it. They asked him, what's the motivator? He goes, sitting our ass on the bench is a motivator. You know, and with today, you think about, like, you know, all the NIL and all the, even with the NFL, the contracts and all that stuff. What hurts the player the most? Sitting on the bench. Like being worried about losing that starting job or playing time. Because it's embarrassing. You got to go to your family. You got to go to your friends. They're like, why aren't you starting? What happened? I thought you were starting, and now you're not. Now you're on the bench. What's going on? You know, and you don't want to go through those types of things. So I like that. You know, I got to interview Pat Summitt once. She was fantastic. Oh, my God.
That must have been amazing.
Unbelievable. It was on radio. And I asked her, I said, after all these years, how do you do it? She's like, you know what? I tell them, this is the way. We don't deviate from the way. If you try to deviate from the way that I've built this program, you're probably not going to be here very long. You know, Mike Tomlin up at Pittsburgh, your guy.
Yeah.
The standard. The standard is the standard. There's no deviating from the standard. Once you get that in place, man, that's a powerful thing.
So there's a guy named Cameron Oriole on our team.
Yep.
And last night in the game, he's one of the best shooters we have. He comes off the bench along with Liam Murphy, two of the best shooters in America. Liam's shooting 61% from three right now.
Whew.
And so, but I told him during the game, if you don't take these, I'm not playing you.
Right.
And the next time he had a look and he didn't take it. And you should see me on film. I jumped up and I ran down. I said, get him out of the game. And we talked about that at film today.
Yeah.
That you got to have that confidence and understanding of what we're trying to do and what that looks like.
Right.
And so I think when you talk about Coach Knight or how do you motivate him or how do you keep him level-headed or grounded, I think part of it goes back to what you originally asked me when we stepped on the floor of the show.
Yep.
Consistency.
Yeah. Yep.
Because, like, this is how I'm going to coach you.
Yep.
And just because we're 3-0 and we beat 2 high majors, like, this is how I'm going to coach you.
Right.
And so I think that consistency we have with the guys has helped to keep them grounded.
Yep.
Tom, I don't think a lot of people understand what we just did.
Yep.
People at our level in the first week of the season,
first
of all, no other team in America beat 2 Power Fours, even Power Fours.
Right.
So, like, to do what we did, the way in which we did it, you get this through that door,
No,
you're
I'm
an
not.
amazing dude. But for us to do that, and for our guys to stay that grounded, that says a lot about our program. That says a lot about our culture. It says a lot about our staff. But I think it says a lot. Mostly it resonates those 14 dudes.
No doubt. Well, then that brings me into my final question, Coach, because I say this all the time about when you build an NFL team, right? It's you have the coach and his philosophy. You got to have the players that can thrive in that philosophy. You know, Coughlin would get a bunch of guys that could handle being yelled at. It wasn't a big deal. Like, we expected. I got yelled at in my home. My dad yelled at me when I didn't do well. You know, he also gave me praise when I did well or gave me affection when I did well. So don't you have to match that, though, is what I'm getting at? Like, you have your culture, you built it. Mike Tomlin's got his standard. You got to fill him with guys that fit that mold.
And I think my dad was, don't expect to get praised for what you do right, but you're going to get disciplined for what you get wrong.
Okay.
And so I think when you talk about what you just said, when you bring those kind of guys in, like-minded, right? And I so I do a theme for the games.
Yep.
And when the Georgia Tech game, one of the things I talked about was shared allies.
Yeah.
How critical it is in leadership and in winning and building what we're building. We were talking about forging our identity, that you have to have shared allies. That allies that have the same value, that have the same core.
That's right.
But you're going to get outliers.
Right. Yep.
And I'm not saying we don't have them or one.
Right.
But you can't have 4.
Right.
And what we've been fortunate, I can say
and that one better be dynamite player.
Jimmy Williams was unbelievable.
Right? Am I right, though?
Unbelievable.
He better, his talent better
but
be
Tom,
unbelievable.
we've had dudes that we took their scholarship away
Yeah.
that were in the locker room after the game at Georgia Tech because they're still part of the family.
Wow.
And they're talking to the guys,
Yep.
and they think this, like, they believe like this is part of them.
That's so cool.
And we actually took their scholarship away because they didn't pan out the way they were supposed to.
Right.
And so that's part of it too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of that.
Yeah.
Goes back to
life
the
lessons.
Sit on the bench and, well, you know what? Like, I'm going to get fired.
Right. Right.
It's not like if I was just Joy's, well, then, I'd give you a scholarship and, great. But, like,
You
we
gotta
got to have dudes who are going to be able to fulfill the role and do what they need to do. So Chaz scored 17 points as a freshman.
Nice.
And didn't transfer.
Yeah, right.
He averaged 5 as a sophomore, 5 as a junior.
Wow.
And then was the most efficient player in the country.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
I will be prepared. Perhaps my chance will come.
Yep.
And you'll reap what you sow.
Yeah.
As long as you understand that work brings profit.
That's right.
And talk leads to poverty.
Absolutely. All right. Any advice for young player, young coach? What would you say to them? If they
I would say young player.
Yep.
I think what they really fall away from is that habits that are boring are the ones that elevate you
Creatures
to
of habit.
become elite.
Yep.
And so I think
Yep.
if young people could understand that it's not about this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
It's about understanding those habits.
That's right.
For coaches, I would say this. Don't be afraid to coach them.
Right.
Don't be afraid to be disciplinarian.
Yep.
Because they want it more than you think.
Yeah.
And I have a hard time with it sometimes. It really hurts my heart sometimes. But then the older guys come back and say, Coach,
They appreciate it.
I'm going to officiate my 10th player's wedding this summer.
Are you really? Yeah, that's great.
So,
Cool.
there's got to be something.
right.
It's got to be something.
Listen, all I would say is, and I'm not a coach, but I know
Yeah, I think you'd be a good one.
you well, thank you. You can be as hard as you need to be on me. As long as I know when I do it right, you're going to say, hey, great job. And you know what, Coughlin, that's one thing about Coughlin, never got enough credit for. He wouldn't do it in a rah-rah way. He'd give game balls out and things like that. But he'd come up to you one-on-one, put his arm around you, be like, hey, that was a great job the other day. Or even practice. Great practice yesterday. Have another one. But nobody talks about that. They talk about how hard he was. But when you get that, it's like when you're a kid. You know, your parents, they take you out to dinner when you get good grades. They spank you when you don't, or ground you or whatever.
So what I do is
Creatures of habit.
I'll say something, and then I'll get done, and I'll be like, hey, by the way, I just complimented you.
Right.
And they'll kind of smile at me and giggle and whatever.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure they understand.
Yeah,
like,
man.
that's part of it.
Communication.
It's part of it.
That's huge.
And
Awesome.
and the other thing, too, is, Tom, down the road, we know. Not only are we adults, not only are we coaches,
Yeah.
we've been doing this. If I didn't coach Jalen Smith as hard as I coached him,
Right.
on January, the very first game in the league last year, when he was playing 12 minutes a game, and the guy in front of him tore his ACL, and now you're going to play 30, and now I'm going to start coaching you hard, he would have melted.
No, right. That's right.
He ended up being all freshman.
That's
he
right.
ended up leading us to one of the best years we've had.
Yeah.
Some people think one of the best coaching jobs I've ever done.
Consistency.
100%.
Back to it.
That's what it's all about.
Coach, you're the man. Thank
Thank
so
you,
much.
brother.
Best of luck
I've
the
enjoyed-
rest of
I've
the
enjoyed-
way.
I've enjoyed
I'm looking
getting to know
forward
you.
to getting into the NCAAs, NIT, whatever it takes.
Well,
man.
let's just worry about Monday night,
Okay.
7 o'clock at the Nest.
All right.
UNC Asheville's coming to town.
Ooh, all right.
We're
Beautiful.
all about 1-0 and just taking day by day.
That's right. That's all you can do. All right, my man. Thanks so much.
Thank you, brother. Hey, thanks for letting me ride shotgun.
That's right.
This is a great place.
And you look good. I need some swag from UNF. That's pretty
got it.
nice, man.
You got
all
it.
right.
What size? Large?
XL, if you don't mind.
I don't know. You look like a large.
That's right. Absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for us this time around. Such a great time on this show, man. Having my celebrity sit in the shotgun seat each and every episode. Want to thank Fields Cadillac. Want to thank Iconic Production, of course, Coach Matthew Driscoll and his time. So until next time, stay safe, be cool out there. We'll see you right here on Riding Shotgun with Tommy Mack.
Swoop!
Swoop!
Swoop it up!
Good job. That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was so cool.
Hopefully that's-
Nah, it was good. Perfect. Good energy. Good top ball on me. Oh,